What's up, guys? This is Terrence Riley with Agonor to Leaf, and you're listening to the Leaf and Ash podcast. Make sure to validate. Cheers.
I absolutely love that hat. Working hands never go starving. That's a phenomenal hat. What's going on, guys? Welcome to another Leaf and Ash podcast. I'm your host, Panda. And as you guys can see in the guy in the middle, our special guest, but we're about to get them in just a moment. Before I introduce our special guest, let me introduce you guys to my three compadres, baby. On the top left, we got the Cigar Don. What's going on, Cigar Don?
What's going on, guys? Happy Thursday.
Happy Thursday. Yes. On the top right, we got the big dog. What's going on, PC?
Man, what's happening with you, baby? Glad it's Thursday, man. Friday can't come fast enough.
One day closer to Friday, right? One day closer to Friday. And the guys on the bottom right, as always, the one finger pecker sensation himself, JJ, a.k.a. the Cigar Mutt. What up, Mutt?
Hey, man, how the you guys doing?
That's what's up. That's what's up.
And now our guest of honor, we are so happy to have this man with us tonight. We got Kevin Cigar Prop himself. What's going on, Kev?
What it be?
Man, we are so happy that you had time. We appreciate your time coming along and kind of spend this time with us. We're going to ask a bunch of questions. Jump in. It's going to be more like a sip and smoke on basically on a regular episode. You know, we're going to drink. We're going to have a little sip. I don't know what you guys drinking, what you're smoking. But before we get, what are you smoking tonight, Kev?
I am smoking from Big Sky Cigars, the River series. I've got the Bighorn.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
It's probably out of all the cigars I got from a PCA this year, me and my co-host of my show, Care, we have been just loving every fucking thing Big Sky is doing. Man, they are dropping some bombs.
They are
dropping some gems, man.
There's a rep right there, but let me tell you something. And you know what? That particular cigar I absolutely love. The Bighorn, the 2.0. It's got some nice spice to it. Got some good smoke, good flavors, good notes on it. So I'm glad you're enjoying that bad boy.
Yes, sir.
Donnie, what you smoking?
I have the West Tampa Tobacco Company, the Boliche Boulevard.
Oof. He's back to his bougie self. I'll tell you.
I swear you bought that 50, man. He bought the 50.
I think he bought the last one.
Bought the case of 50 is what he did.
That's what he did, the last 50. Right?
Maybe half that. But yeah.
Hey, Mo, what you smoking?
You know, I'm smoking the M81, the blackened.
Nice pepper bomb, punch you in the mouth.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. PCU?
Man, I got that Tay Portega's Florida Black, baby. Tobacco.
Nice. And the Panda himself, I showed you guys earlier, I'm smoking the Illusion MJ12 with the original band. This is probably one of my favorite Illusion cigars. I absolutely love it. Spice, flavor, everything. So, Mr. Cigar Prop, sir, let me tell you, we've been following you. I know that JJ, all of us were great, big fans of you. You know, like I said, once again, we thank you for coming on and spending some time with us. You know, I kind of just want to jump right in. You know, you're one of those individuals that when you show up to a room, people know. People know Cigar Prop. You know, you're very versed in the industry. People have you kind of build a trademark on yourself, man. How did the Cigar Prop come all about, man?
First of all, I said I never really consider myself like big time until like a month or so ago. A couple months ago, we were down at the Great Smoke, Boynton Beach, the greatest cigar event of the year. You got to go. I'm down there talking to Nick Melillo Foundation. Me and Nick were boys, and we're just chatting. I hear we both hear someone yelling from across the room. Oh my God, I can't believe you're here! And I finally get to meet you. And guy's walking over. He's got his hand out. You know, Nick's right there. You know, Nick puts his hand out. Guy walks right past Nick, gives me a big hug. So, and I'm like, I've made it. That's how I know I made it.
Oh,
the guy didn't even know who Nick was, so that was awesome.
Tell Nick I said I'm sorry.
Yeah. But yeah, it just all of this started with just me in my garage, just a regular ass dude, making some shit on my lathe, decided to make a little cigar holder because my cigar was rolling around. I'm like, finished up the little bung I was working on. I'm like, let me turn down a little cigar holder real quick. And next thing you know, here we are 9 years later,
Wow.
and I don't even sell cigar props anymore, but hell, that's what everybody knows me as. So keep the name.
Keep what's good and going for you, right? I mean, we ran into you at the Great Smoke at that Boynton event.
Mm-hmm.
True fact, Nick Melillo is JJ's man crush. Just saying.
I don't know if I would go that. Okay, maybe.
It's his man crush.
I said mine's Pete Johnson. Pete's been my man crush forever. Pete, I love Pete.
Absolutely.
Pete's cool.
And then to come to find out, last year's PCA trade show, we started talking about tattoos. Pete and I are, obviously he's older than me, but our very first tattoo was the exact same tattoo in the exact same spot. We both got Marvin the Martian on our right upper arms as our very first tattoo ever. So we got a picture. We got our pictures of our arms side by side. So
that's
awesome. That's why you said I'm like meant to be.
Absolutely. We had the privilege of interviewing Pete Johnson, and let me tell you something. He is one of those guys that's very easy to approach, real easy to talk with. And we're very fortunate. I would like to think we made an impact because when we showed up at the Great Smoke, he recognized us. He remembered us. We've also had a couple of other encounters with Matt Booth. Matt Booth, Matt Booth is, if you guys don't know who Matt Booth, then I don't know what the heck you've been doing in the cigar world.
Oh, man, he's nut.
So, so you start 9 years ago. I started watching some of your build out that you have. You have a beautiful layout there, man. It's about 500 square feet roughly.
550.
550. I'm just trying to get a little man cave in my backyard. This man's got a whole house in his man cave, envy, very envy. But you know what? And I saw the layouts, your filtration system. And matter of fact, today I started writing down all your information because when I start building my stuff in the backyard, I'm definitely going to start looking at some of the products that you have because I'm definitely looking for a smokeless or as smokeless as possible in a man cave, But going into now, you went from just starting shooting the shit, talking about cigars to start getting into meeting people and doing a lot of interviews because I go down your Instagram. Interview after interview after interview. And it seems that to me, this is how I know that you made it, that there's certain individuals you seem to have no problems being able to speak with, and that they're willing to give you the time, out of all these individuals that you've interviewed, who do you say is probably your most interesting, not necessarily the best one, but the most interesting conversation interview that you've had?
Nick Melillo Foundation, so we did I've interviewed Nick a couple of times. Now it's most of these aren't even interviews anymore. They're just shooting the shit just like this. Mm-hmm. But the last time Nick was on the show, it was maybe 3.5 hours on the show. It wasn't until the 3 hour mark, I'm like, oh shit, you got a new cigar out. We should probably talk about that. It's just, we don't talk about cigars. We talk about, I love his, the whole thing with the Night Commander, the Ethiopian, his, reggae, everything about that just fascinates me. So yeah, that was one of my favorite interviews. I'm really looking forward to Dion with Illusione. He wants to come on the show and he's like, I only have one rule. We're not talking about cigars. I'm like, fuck yeah. He got me on that one. So he's got some great story. Area 51. His dad worked at Area 51. Oh, Dion. Oh, wow. Yeah. I've heard a couple stories. So
that's awesome.
But those are the interviews I love the most, when it's not really, just, the cigars, talking with Terrence Riley, talking about his history and everything else. And, those are the ones. But Nick, I always love talking with Nick. He's just such a fountain of knowledge. But
yes,
all of them. You always go back to that one Steve Saka, at the Red Meat Lovers Club dinner, all of them years ago for the inaugural release. I did an interview with him, and it was like I had some questions for him, and then my buddy Aaron that came down with me, and like right before we're going to start filming, he goes, "Hey, ask him about the time his father-in-law smoked an entire box of Cubans." And so I'm like, all right, so we'll see how that goes. So I just asked Steve that story, and I don't think I asked another question. Like that was like a half hour later. That was the outcome of that one question, and that's when our YouTube channel blew up. I mean, it just absolutely exploded after that. And I remember it was a couple of years later. I was talking with someone, and I made the comment. I'm like, yeah, it's all Steve Saka. Steve Saka's the reason, that I'm here and doing this. And he gave me a great compliment. And he's like, you know what? You're really good at what you do. You were always going to be here. It's not just because of me. So, but yeah, it's there's a few good ones, a few good interviews out there.
Who was that just what was it that they just said?
It's my cigar prop bleeder tool.
Nice. I saw that you have a Trash Panda ashtray.
Yeah, that's our newest company, Trash Panda Cigars. We've got a couple different ashtrays. Here's just one I have. We have a typical, a regular one, but this is like a roll-off dumpster ashtray.
Oh man, I love it.
We have one with the closing lids, like a regular dumpster. So, and then we got some cigars with that. But
definitely got to get me one, obviously for the obvious reason, right?
Yeah, But then that cigar prop bleeder tool. I mean, the bleeder tool is what built this. Who'd have thought that little gadget would have, still after all of these years selling, a ton of them.
I have a bunch of questions, but before I get out of hand, because like I said, I don't want to just be questions. I just I really want to get more in depth in regards to Kevin, because there's a lot more than just cigar prop, the guy that interviews that people have been able to meet. I'm more interested in Kevin, the regular norm. You know what I mean? In the sense of, you have a regular job, correct?
Yeah, I'm a mechanic. I'm a regular 8 to 5, Monday through Friday. It's what I've been doing for 20 years, and it's still, busting knuckles every day.
See, and that's what I love about this world per se, right? Because this is what brings us together, and then we can talk about anything and everything that we want, right? This is what brings us together, and then it's up to us to bring up the conversation. But like I said, I have more questions, but I'm gonna pass the mic to JJ. JJ, you on the floor, baby.
Hey, well, Kevin, first of all, thank you for being here.
You're very welcome.
I've been able to meet you twice now.
Yep.
At PCA and at the Great Smoke. And,
were you at Ybor City with Brandon as well, or no?
Nope.
No. Okay.
No, but I wonder what we're going to do next. I haven't really heard anything. I know there's a couple things going on, but I'm just not sure. First of all, you sent me your beard balm. Of course, I shaved her down to the wood, but
yeah,
your beard balm is amazing. That smell is wonderful. And my daughters, they love that book, by the way, that you sent.
Oh, right on.
I 100% appreciate that. And what I admire the most is your work ethic. It don't matter where I've met you. You never stop moving. At PCA, dude, you were making your rounds, and I just find it awesome that your will and your drive, it just never stops. You can see it in your content and within your work ethic, and it's inspired all four of us. I know that for sure. And it's just and I was going to ask you about how long has your I'd Tap That Cigar show? How long has that been going on?
God, I don't know. We've probably been doing that for about 4 years now. I think we're up to around 270 shows or so. So yeah, about four years. We just scaled that back a little bit. We're only doing that once a month now, instead of once a week. We started our new podcast, the Puff and Ponder podcast. Just to do something a little different. Yeah. You guys know these weekly shows, cigars, you gotta have questions and everything else. It takes a lot of time. It does. To do all this. And I was just getting a little fried, and I don't ever want to make it unfun. I always want everything to be fun and exciting. And, once it starts getting, you guys, there are other shows out there. You can tell that they're bored. Like it's like, asking the same questions over and over again. And I never wanted to be like that, but now that we're only doing it once a month, when that once a month comes around, I do get excited again. I'm like, yeah, so, but yeah, just got to keep it fresh. Got to keep new stuff, kind of try to stay a little bit ahead of the curve.
Yeah. Cause there's a lot of these shows out there, and some are very different from others and some are very similar, to others, and I like to ask this question, what's your top 4 cigars? I know that's a hard question.
God, let me just
top 4.
The last 4 that I smoked. That's it. Room 101, the 15th anniversary, absolutely banging right now. The new Dunbarton Sober Mesa Solita Red, my number one cigar of the year last year. The Tatuaje Tuxla Bel Onc. It's just it's on fire. There are so many good ones out there.
And going back, I know I'm all over the place right now, but going back to that book, how long did it take you to get that published and get out for the world to see?
I wrote the story in a day, but then it took a couple of months going through like ghostwriters, like cleaning it up, because I don't know how to write. I don't know how to write kids' books, so I don't know what kids expect, Right. So going through a ghostwriter and then an editor, editing my content down, not changing anything, just taking a lot of it out for kids. And but yeah, it was probably in total, a couple of month process, about a 3-month process of getting it on there and then getting it uploaded to Amazon so you can buy it or do the Kindle version of it.
Right. Okay. Well, I definitely got some more for you, but I'm gonna pass you over to Silverback and see what he has for you.
All right.
Yes, sir, man. Kevin, it's a pleasure meeting you, man, and just seeing you at the bourbon tasting out there at what's the lounge we were at, guys?
A Smoke in Boynton Beach.
Smoke in Boynton Beach. Man,
you guys look like you were having fun.
Hey, man, we were enjoying ourselves. And JJ was like, "There go Kevin," and you sitting there, and I'm like, I'm kind of, I don't get starstruck, but I was like, "Oh, look at that, man! All right, cool dude." Just seemed, like a regular guy, which was really cool. Mm-hmm. But you blew me away when you say you like the wrench. And what do you work on a daily basis, as far as cars, motorcycles, trucks?
So I work at I'm the senior lead tech at a Tires Plus. So I have to work on everything, cars, like light duty trucks. I don't get into like diesels or heavy duty trucks. So from a Toyota Celica to a Chevy 1500 to, just about anything. I don't do VW, Audi, Volkswagen, Mercedes. Right. I've got another one of my other co-lead techs. I filter all that work from. I'm getting old. I don't want to do that bullshit anymore. The older I get, the less in depth and I don't get inside motors no more. I do outside of motors.
Okay. Really cool.
Shit. Yeah, it's it. Just getting older and you get more picky with your work.
Yeah,
you're not as flexible as you were when you were 20, huh?
Yeah, you're damn right.
You're like one sneeze away from dislocating the hip, because I know I am.
Yeah, we all.
I got my sneezing.
Oh yeah, I had an MRI on my shoulder this afternoon. I got an MRI on my knee next week. So yeah. It's brutal.
Yeah, and we were on the other night, man, and we were just chopping it up with some of the viewers and stuff like that. We was talking about, what's your dream car? What's your dream old school?
67 Pontiac GTO. So
ooh.
You know, I got a tattoo of a GTO on my back, and you know, the older I get, you know, I used to want. I actually had a 66 at one time, and I was going restoring it, but I sent the body off to a place here in Florida to have it acid dunked to remove all the old paint and rust. And about 50% of the car disappeared in the tank.
Oh,
no. So there was no going back after that. So, but the older I get, I keep planning that car. That car keeps changing in my mind because now I still want that car, but I want leather heated seats. I want the air conditioning, you know, because back 20 years ago, I'm like, yeah, AC delete, you can't rob that power. And and now it's just like, gotta have that AC and gotta have them heated seats and that radio Lord. And
and that defroster, man, for those
So the older I get, the more I want that car to be more comfortable.
Warm up that sciatic nerve, man.
That's it. I don't need the heated seats because I live in Florida, so it's never that cold. It's always in my back, you know. It'd be in the middle of the summertime, and I got that thing cranking on my way to work, so I can, get flexible.
Yeah, I feel.
I'm sorry, but there's one comment that I just can't get over right now.
I'm curious to know, how did you come up with the name, the Trash Panda cigar?
So someone in the media at one time called me trash. They didn't like, and we've mended, and now we're friends, but it was just like so some people didn't like what I was doing and how I was doing it because I think I disrupted a little bit of media, kind of doing things a little bit different. The regular media guys aren't supposed to post naked behind a Room 101 sign, but fuck it, I'll do it. Matt Booth asks you to get naked, you get naked. Who am I to tell Matt Booth no?
Yeah,
So I just rolled with it, Trash Panda, and instantly everybody loved it. So many manufacturers came out like, oh my God, how has nobody ever done that name before? And so yeah, we love having fun with it because we can do everything. We had a little a cigar we did with Aganorsa, it's one of their like little overruns, and we named it Hot Sushi. Like who wants to eat that hot sushi? But but we can do cool names like that don't make any sense at all, but they make sense with a company called Trash Panda Cigars. So
now oh man, just kind of had a little brain fog there, but anyway, it's really cool that you were able to make something out of that. And right now I'm gonna pass it on to Don, and I'll probably get back with you with another question in a minute.
So for me, I want to. So as you can see, I watched your videos on your man cave, your smoking room, and I got the same color walls. I just built a little man cave in my backyard, and it's one of the best things I've ever done. Just for me, I can come out here. It's solitude. I can talk to my guys. I can do the show. I can watch TV. I can do whatever I want. So I watched a lot of your stuff. I got I watched on your filtration. You turning the air purifier on at night instead of while you're in here. So I just wanted to thank you for all that. So what was your inspiration for building that? What was your thought process behind all that?
For building the cigar lounge?
Yeah.
It wasn't my idea. It was Jessica's. I didn't want to build the cigar. I didn't want to build the cigar lounge. She did. So I had just built a 500 square foot master bedroom addition, and we were supposed to do we were supposed to either do another bathroom next or a kitchen or something like that. And then she's like, because we built an office in that addition as well, a little 100 square foot office, and that's where I was broadcasting from. And I don't know, after 6 months or so, and she's like, why don't we just build a cigar lounge? I'm like, yeah, all right, let's do it. So a lot of this was all her idea. I didn't even want to build a walk-in humidor. I was just gonna maybe build cabinets or do something else. And she really had to twist my arm, for like months to build a walk-in humidor. And I'm like, yeah, let's just do it. We'll build a walk-in humidor. So yeah, it's all Jessica. It's all her idea.
So my next question for you, I really hope my wife is watching this live right now, because I watched your video on your walk-in humidor, and you said you have 4,000 cigars in there right now and could probably hold 25,000.
Oh, easily. Yeah, easily 25,000 would go in there.
Wow.
So I have a tenth of that, maybe not even a tenth of that, 1% of that, and I have too many in her. So I hope you're watching this, honey. Like, it gets better.
Yeah.
So in your humidor, I noticed you have the boxes with the, it looked like a lattice kind of around. Is that something that you make, the lattice? I don't know what that's called. The little.
Yeah. We just and that's another thing. Jessica had been pestering me for like a year to do something with those trays to get them separated. Because when you stack those cedar trays on top of each other, there's no. I mean, the airflow can't go all the way through like 4, 5, 6 trays.
Right.
So I was looking for something else out there. Then I got the 3D printers, so I reached out to my guy, and I'm like, hey, let's design something, and so yeah, we just designed those little spacers with all the holes in them, so we could stack the trays up, and then all the air can move through all of the little trays, and they've been the greatest thing. People absolutely love those, and they work really good. So everything that we do, I have never once sold any product for the sake of selling a product. Every single product we have ever made, it's because I needed one. I needed one of something, and then somebody else needed one. Like, it all started with a cigar prop. Made that. A couple friends were like, "Hey, can you make me one?" And then broke a lighter, bleeding the tip with a stupid screwdriver or an awl, whatever the hell I was using. So made a little prototype, little bleeder, and then hey, that's pretty cool. So now that. So yeah, everything I've made, it's because I needed one. So and it's done me well. Everything. I'm just, like I said, a regular cigar smoker. So if I need it and I think it's cool, usually a lot of other people think it's cool as well, so I don't go out there and just, buy a lighter or a cutter and just put my name on it and try and sell it and tell you that it's something different when it's not.
I did learn the hard way not to bleed a lighter with certain pins. I had a pin roll up in my hand and get all over me. I never would have thought that it was possible.
Yeah, but certain pin. You should be using any pin.
And I did it at PCA.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Are you serious, man?
Yeah, I did it at PCA all over my hair. It was everywhere.
So when you walk in that humidor and you have 4,000 cigars in there, how do you decide what you're smoking that day? Is it just reach in and grab something, or do you have do you have something in mind when you go in there and go, okay, today I want a Maduro, or I want to,
So it all depends. Usually my first cigar, when after get off work, shower, eat dinner, all that. Like the first cigar is, first I think of, so we do have advertisers and we do have partners for us. So, I have to think back. I'm like, do I owe somebody a photo? Because I'm like, hey, JC Newman, I haven't taken a photo with one of their cigars in a week or so. So. And I love everything that they make, so I may pick one of that out, or I may pick a Illusione because I haven't done a photo for a while, or, if I'm all caught up on my photos and everything else, then it's brutal because then I just stand in there for a half an hour, just looking around, and that's the downfall of having that many cigars. You end up just looking around because then I think about the stories. Like I'll see, my shelf of Tatuaje. And like, I'll just get lost and I'll just remember like the cool stories and conversations I've had with Pete. And then I'll look over and see, a Dunbarton, my Dunbarton row. And, and next thing you know, like I said, it's half an hour later and I'm like reliving all these cool stories and moments. And it's like, shit, I just need a damn cigar. And, so yeah. So and then I'll end up just, grabbing something, but I do have a tray of like miscellaneous, it's a box that probably has,
a lot,
300 or 400 cigars in it.
Bullshit. That has a lot more than 300 cigars. I've seen that damn trick. Let me tell you something. This man could smoke out of that little area, little, probably for like 3 years and still have leftovers. So
I can. It's got a lot of cigars. So a lot of nights, so for my like second or third cigar, I just go in there and just pull out a cigar. They're just random cigars. Sometimes I don't know the manufacturer. And I pull one out. I know if I'm in the mood for something light or dark, so I'll like skim through there real quick and pick something out, and then I just smoke it. But it's tough. It's tough to pick it out when you have that many cigars.
I guarantee it.
I don't know that problem at all. So
Stop it.
I was about to say I have that problem, and I only have like a 300 count. Humidor. And I have that same problem. So I can't imagine if I had that big. So anyway, I want to go back to when you talked about, I know you're joking, but you said when you made it, So we asked Pete Johnson that same question when he was on here. How did you know when you made it? And I loved his answer. His answer was, man, I don't think I have. I wanted to be a rock star. I don't think I have made it yet.
Yeah.
We really loved talking to him, and we've had the opportunity to talk to Matt and Terrence and Pete and those guys, and you're right up there with it for us. When I can't help but comment so Panda and I were sitting in, we got the last 2 tickets for the whiskey tasting. So JJ and PC went into the whiskey tasting, and Panda and I went into the shop to grab a table, because we figured it was going to get busy in there, So I can't help but comment, when you walked in, man, you just commanded the room, and with Terrence, and Terrence was there that night with the wine, with whiskey tasting, and Nick was there, and Abe, and it was just really cool for me because that was the first real event that I had been to. And
really?
Yeah, it was such a good experience. I can't wait to do my next one. But yeah, so I just couldn't help but comment on that you kind of just commanded the room when you walked in, and your outfit for the Great Smoke Day was off.
Oh, thanks.
That's exactly what I was gonna bring up. Because talking about commanding the room, right? The man comes in the full gear, from head to toe, all outfit, giddy up, ready for the theme, because it was Renaissance, and you went all out, man. You had your get up, and wherever you went, and let me tell you something, you seem to have that character or that aura that people truly gravitate to you, which is a beautiful thing. You know what I mean? Because it's you've been around long enough to know that you can hang out with certain people and there's just something about them that just either rubs you the wrong way, or you know that you're not going to be able to mesh. But you definitely have that aura of, just open spirited, and you're just out there to enjoy yourself and have fun, and all about positive vibes, man.
And that's what it is. And I think that's what people see, it's like, I just like to have fun. That's all I want to do. Just, this people that take this shit too seriously, there's so many people out there, media personalities, reviewers, they just take this shit too seriously. Like when you sit down and talk with them, and the first thing they want to talk about is like cigars or something else. I'm like, oh, come on, let's just fucking talk about something else. It's like, shit's boring. Like what are you doing? It's like, so. Yeah, you got to have fun.
I gotta ask you then. What do you do in your spare time? Like I said, you can't talk cigars 24/7. So, what does Kevin do in his spare time?
I smoke cigars. That's all I do. So I don't have spare time. Like I said, I work a 40-hour-a-week job, and then running Cigar Prop, Trash Panda, and then the media side of it. That's another 40-50 hours a week. So I don't have spare. I used to golf, and then I got injured with my knee, so I can't golf anymore. Hopefully, maybe eventually I'll get back on the course, because I love to golf. It's a fantastic pastime because it just requires you to just get away for like 4 hours. You can't be on your phone. You're just hanging there with your boys, doing some drinking, smoking some cigars, playing some shitty ass golf, I don't like playing with good people, because good people take that shit too seriously. I like playing with people that don't know how to play golf like me, and because it just makes it fun.
It's the only sport that I ever paid to get frustrated.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But it's also like the only sport, I mean, I'll be 17 holes in. I'm like, that's it. Anybody want to buy my clubs? My last game. Never playing this again. And then you hit that drive on 18, like 270 straight down the fairway, and you're like, I think I'm back, baby. Yeah, no, I think I'm gonna go pro. I'm gonna give up. I think I can do this, And
no, I grew up on a golf course. I hit one. I was a kid, and I hit one about 250. I ran all the way down the field, the fairway. Came back to the tee and tried it over again and shanked.
Oh yeah.
No, it's 18 holes. It takes me 32 balls to finish 18 holes. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even buy those professional balls, right? I go to the pawn shop. I'll go and get buy here, pay here. I play it again, and I'll buy a whole bag for like maybe $30 because that's what I'm going to use, to play 18 holes because I'm never going to catch them again.
I always tell people I swing the sticks. I don't play the game of golf because that's a whole different era. I swing the sticks. I was playing in a tournament not too long ago, and there's my son was playing with me, and his roommate was a college golfer. He's a scratch golfer. He gets up on tee box number 1 and strikes it 320 down the fairway. I just looked at him and said, "You're gonna hate today. I just want you to know right now, you are gonna absolutely hate today."
I want to get in. We had the guys from Never Ash on the show a while ago, and I had come across and I talked to them about it. But there's a game called Fling Golf, FLING. So it's played on a regular golf course. The club is different. So you put the ball in the club, and it's like lacrosse. So it's got a big stick, and it's just got like a little basket on it. And so I went in because of my knee, I really can't swing anymore. So you drive with that. So you fling it. So you can play it with like 2 clubs. So and then your fling and then your putter. So every shot is you fling it and you keep like lobbing it up there. And then once you're on the green, you putt it out. And
I think I like that.
That's interesting.
I think I'll be okay with that. Won't dislocate anything as much anyways.
Yeah, exactly. So I gotta look into that.
See, what about disc golf? Disc golf is big here. I don't know if it is in y'all states, but
it's getting big. I got a buddy that does it. He's got like 12 different, disc, and he's always talking. I'm like, listen, you're already turning me off, man. Just as into the weeds. The disc golf guys are like the I don't know what is that little tennis game that people are playing now. Pickleball. Yeah.
That is.
I can't even throw it. I can't even throw a daggum frisbee into my dog, let alone throw one at it. So we got a question here from the gallery. What cigar maker that you haven't met is on the top of your list to interview, and why?
Man, and Mike, you had a question earlier about a lathe. Mike, you know how to get a hold of me, Kevin@cigarprop.com. Shoot me a message. I'll let you know. Who haven't I interviewed? God. There are some people that like Ernie Carrillo. I've never interviewed Ernie. I've never interviewed Carlito Fuente, even though I know Carlito. Consider Carlito a friend, but there's nobody I really that I haven't. I've been trying to get Chris Dumit from Gold Rush. Chris is always smoking the cigars on the show. We haven't been able to connect yet. We've emailed back and forth. He's kind of a cool guy. I kind of want to know his story, but I'm all about just anybody with a story. I mean, not really. It could be not even a cigar maker. Like on a regular podcast. My barber Lenny has a fantastic story about having become a barber, and he's got cool stories, and I'm really stoked about introducing people to him. And so it's less about me interviewing people and getting what I want versus, letting people hear cool stories about other people. One of the big compliments I get, we were interviewing my co-host Karen and I, Christian Aroa, on years ago. And I'd asked him, I go, do you remember when you became Christian Aroa and you weren't just, I forget his dad's name. Is it Justo? Like Justo's son or something? And he goes, I remember the exact day. And he goes, I've been waiting 5 years for someone to ask me that question.
Holy.
And then he told us the story, and people were just like, oh my God, like that, afterwards people were just like, I can't, that was like the greatest thing. And that's what I want. I want to bring those moments to other people. So it's never about me.
You were talking earlier about things getting stale and things getting, not fun anymore. And we're too new for that. This is episode 44 for us, I think. 44 or 45. Yeah. Anyway, but behind the scenes, we started talking and we started doing a new segment called the Late Hour, where we're just, we usually chop it up on Discord at night, us four kind of just, and then one night we went, you know what? Let's just go live with this conversation and we'll talk about wherever the wind takes us, and yeah, it has really kind of picked up and it kind of opened our eyes to like, there's more out there than just, hey, what cigar have you smoked? Hey, what, there's more out there. 2 nights ago we got into talking about cars, and there was a couple of real motorheads on there that were going into it. And I'm not a car guy, but it was interesting to me to see, to hear about the cars that my dad talked about, that kind of thing. So I think you're right. Just always keeping it live, keeping it.
That's it. And it always starts off with like the cigar, like when I'm in a herf or doing something, it'll be, someone will be like, oh, hey, be like, hey, what are you smoking? And they'll like, oh, I'm smoking this cigar. And I'm like, oh, I'm like, if I don't know about it, like you tell me about that cigar. And then usually it's a story that goes behind that. And then now we're an hour deep into like he'll tell a story. Oh, hey, I remember when I was a kid, my dad on a farm, whatnot. I'm like, oh, hey, my dad was on a farm too. And the next thing you know, like we had this conversation. It's an hour. And like, how the hell did we get here? Like, why are we? How did we? That you're trying to figure out. I'm like, I don't have a clue how we got to where we're at, but it's a great conversation. And like the cigar is just the starting point.
Absolutely.
Right. Well, 2 nights ago, we decided to go on, and we were actually just going to go on and promote this. We're going to go on and talk about we're going to be talking to you and that kind of stuff. That we get on there. So, all right, guys, let's go on. Let's do a half an hour. Just go on and talk about it. An hour and 45 minutes later, we were still talking about cars, and we're like, guys, it's like midnight. We got to get out. We all got to go to work in the morning.
Yeah.
I love it.
I had to be at work at 7:30 this morning, man. I was just. Yeah. And I agree with you, Kevin, because you know what? To me, honestly, it's just like the cigar shop talk that we have at lounges. People just talk about everyday life, right?
Yeah.
And that's something that I absolutely love about this community, that you have all walks of life that meet up at a lounge, and most likely that would never probably associate with each other outside of the lounge, and it's just because they have a common, love, which is the cigar, the lifestyle, whatever. And to me, like I said, it's no longer a hobby; it is a lifestyle for me, right? I've been smoking for 20 years, and I can't wait to be able to share my story. As you can see, I'm in law enforcement. I got 3 more years to retire, and then I'll have 30 years on the job, and I can't wait to be able to share some of the things that I've endured, the ups, the downs, the good, the bad, and the ugly, because I definitely have a lot to share, because I've had a lot of tribulations, both in personal life and in my career, that I'm grateful that I went through, you know what I mean? Because it's made me the man that I am today. And I'm grateful for all the things that I've had to go through, because all life's lessons are a lesson to learn and to become a better person, and to honestly appreciate certain things. And I can't wait, honestly, to be able to share some of my stories and stuff like that. But I'm really am happy that you're here with us. I really am, because you know what, like I said, once again, you seem to be that cat that anyone could go and walk up to and just have this chit chat and just chop it up and no quorums about it, right? You're not that standoffish guy. You have that, like, once again, I'll bring it up, your aura that you're easy to approach.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And I think that's a good thing. And I think that's why you have been very successful. And I see like a lot of bigger things for you down the road, which leads to my question. Where do you see yourself in the next couple of years? I mean, I don't even want to go like 10 years, and maybe in the next 5 years. Where would you like to see Cigar Prop, Kevin, aka Cigar Prop, be at? You know,
I don't know. You know, I would love to. I'd love to pull a Matt Booth and just find a business daddy that'll take care of me and buy all of this out from under me. And then just hire me back for a salary. You know, that's what, you know, I think, you know, after Matt did it, it's like, everybody's like, and then Caldwell called Matt a sellout, like, you fucking sell out. And then he does it. And everybody's like,
he does it. Exactly.
The Alec Bradley does it. And I'm like, now everybody's like, well, I want to do it. You know, it's like,
now Matt Booth is a genius, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Matt Booth's a genius. So yeah. So,
Matt,
so
I'm sorry, go ahead.
But yeah, no, that you know, that's I mean, I think that's everybody's ultimate goal in this industry, you know, is to build their brand or their product to a certain level to where someone bigger sees it, you know, and like, hey, I'd kind of like that, you know, and I'm like, I'd kind of like to give it to you, you know, so, you know, it's
for the right,
you know,
price.
and then just retire, you know, I just, you know, and then do something else. I'll never retire, you know. Like I said, it'll always be tinkering or doing something. I just don't want to be that 80-year-old guy, you know, working at Walmart, you know, because he has to, you know. So, I definitely want to, you know, build something, you know, to where I'm not working the rest of my life. And, you know, then it's also just building a legacy, you know. I got grandkids and I'm absolutely stoked that one day they'll get to see me on a YouTube, you know, and on the internet, because it'll last forever, you know. It's like my good buddy Brad Reith, Zeal Cigars, you know, passed away last year, and before he got to see his first grandchild be born, and now his daughter Savannah, you know, will always be able to tell stories about Grandpa Bradley, and then, you know, she'll be able to go on YouTube and see her grandpa, you know, just you know, forever, you know, she'll be able to know what kind of man her grandfather was. So, you know, I said, you know,
it's funny. A quick story. So when we first started this thing, my kids made endless fun of me. Like, oh my God, Dad, you're 53 years old. You're getting on TikTok. You're getting on these social medias. You're getting on this podcast. What are you doing, man? Come on. And now they're telling other friends, hey, check out my dad, man. He's got a podcast.
Yeah, my daughter's a nurse, and she was at when she transferred down to a hospital down in Miami. One of the nurses come up to her, and I'm like, hey, is your dad famous? And she's like, how do you know my dad? You know, she's like, well, I was kind of creeping on your Facebook, and then I come across your dad, and he's got a lot of followers everywhere. What does your dad do? And she's like, I don't know. He smokes cigars. I don't know. You know?
That was the big flex in my house is Dad, you're ridiculous. And I just go, oh yeah, how many followers do you have?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. How many you got? Yeah.
Right. That was a big flex in my house for a while, but that's beautiful.
I got my kids constantly busting my chops.
Oh yeah.
Constantly. But they had and you know what? I'm glad that I'm able to do something that they, like you, Don, that they'll brag about me in one form or another, but they like to bust me. They definitely have my sense of humor. So you understand, my kids, for Father's Day last year, just so you have an idea, Kev, they got me a mug, right? It's all black, but once it gets heated up, a picture comes about.
Yeah.
And on one side it says, it seems that it was just yesterday we were in your nutsack. And you turn it around, it's two sperms, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it has both their names on it, you know what I mean? And I'm like, you know, and that's what I tell my daughter all the time, you came out of the left one because you're not acting right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh man, but you know, and you know what? I absolutely love this because you know what? You know, I'm not a granddad yet, but part of me is looking forward to being a granddad. I'll be honest with you, because it's the circle of life, right? You know, you get to see your offspring have their offspring, and I tell them I'm gonna be the coolest granddad ever. I don't care what anybody says, because these guys can tell you, although there's a serious side of me, I enjoy the funny side of me a lot more than the serious side of me. But my kids know when dad is serious, they know all hell has broke loose and what has hit the fan. And to me, I would assume you want that. Are you how many grandkids do you have now?
So I have a 2 grandkids with my son, and then they're like 7 and 5, and then my daughter is pregnant now with her first.
Right. I saw the segment. You guys, I love the segment that you guys with the international on treats, and you did the what was the last one that you just did for the Netherlands or
for the Netherlands, yeah.
Yes. I laugh because of the potato chips. He's like, I can't tell you what flavor though, but they got one hell of a crisp. And he keeps
and that's just been a really fun moment for me and my daughter because she's got a career. She's a neonatal nurse. And so she's got a very serious job and takes a lot of her time. And so we don't get to spend a lot of time together, so at least once a month for a couple of hours, she comes over and we get to have snacks and we get to talk about, her pregnancy, and everybody gets to follow along with it. And I tell people, I said, we turn the camera on and we really do forget most of the time that we're being recorded, and like we say some like dumb shit because my daughter inherited my sense of humor. Like if we had like like our favorite pastime, like we would go to like the mall and sit on a bench and make fun of people. Like that, as sad as like that is, that would be like that would be like if somebody fell down, like he would laugh and I'm like, oh my god, like that's just a weird sense of humor me and my daughter have.
See, that's us when we go to Hollywood Beach, right? Because it has the boardwalk. Because I'm in West Palm, I live in West Palm. Yeah. So we'll drive down, and we'll just people watch, like. You grab one that she shouldn't be wearing what she's supposed to. Like, look, that ass looks hungry, don't it? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just, ladies. It's no offense. I don't want to get no hate mail.
I know.
I'm just saying. Hey, listen. All I'm just saying, spandex is not made for everyone. I'm just, I wish I was the inventor of spandex. So I'm just saying because you see them everywhere now, right? But okay, I digress before I get myself in trouble. I'm just You notice that the 4 of them didn't say or agree or disagree.
They don't want to get canceled.
Well, for me too, you think about how many cigar smokers do you talk to, and you say, "What got you started cigars?" And they always said, a lot of people say it reminds me of my grandpa.
Yeah,
I always smelled that smell with my grandpa. I can't wait till my grandkids can say that about me, and my kids are 25 and 22 or 23, I'm sorry. And they don't have kids yet, but they're both in relationships now. So hopefully that, they get married and that comes about and we have, this great family. But I want my grandkids to when they're 21, that they smoke their first cigar and they go, man, this reminds me of my grandpa, So
yeah, my daughter's not. I mean, she'll never smoke cigars, which is fine. She doesn't necessarily love the smell of cigars. But I remember, and this is probably going back, I don't know, maybe a year, maybe 2 years ago. She was somewhere out and about with her boyfriend doing whatever, and she smelled someone smoking a cigar, and she smelled it, and she told me, she goes, the first thing I thought of was you. So just the smell of a cigar somewhere. And it made her think of me. And then so when I'm long gone, I want her and I want my grandkids, like you said, the same thing. They'll smell a cigar or they'll see somebody smoking cigar and they'll think of their dad, think of their granddad. I remember doing a pipe review and I got all the Drew Estate pipes and all the Drew Estate pipe tobaccos. And smell is such a powerful memory. And I was going through the pipe tobacco, smoking each one. And I got to one and my mom's dad, like I said, I only met him like twice. I was super, super young. And I really don't remember him at all. But I do remember that he was a pipe smoker. He started with cigarettes, went to cigars. And by the time I knew him as a young kid, he went to pipes. But and I don't remember what pipe or what he smoked, but I had lit up that pipe with whatever Drew Estate pipe tobacco is. and man, I almost cried right on screen because it instantly, I was like 7 years old again, and I was in my grandpa's finished basement, and that smell hit me like a fucking ton of bricks, and it just reminded me of my grandfather.
Yep.
Wow, that's really cool. But I got into this, man, just to be an example for my kids, man. Like I got 7 grandkids, and my son gave me my name Silverback. Normally I would have went by PC, but he gave me the name Silverback. I stuck with it. My beard was much longer, and it's really cool now. We can sit down. He and I can. He's 27, and we sit down and we smoke a cigar and we have that kind.
Oh yeah.
And being in the stage where he's at, he's got a lot going on in his mind, a lot going on in the world. He's like, Dad, I just want to talk to you. I'm like, okay, pull up a chair. And, that's really cool. But the thing I don't find cool, he's texted me 3 or 4 different cigars. Dad, can I have these? I'm like, hell no. Those are meant for just you and I, when we sit down together. But, that's a really cool thing about it.
Yeah, that's good. Like so my daughter's 24. She'll be 25. My son just turns 18. Or he's 18. He graduates in 2 weeks from high school, right? And there's 2 things that my kids have never seen me with, right? They never seen me with hair, right? They never see me with hair, and they never see me without a cigar in my mouth.
Yeah.
And like I said, I've been smoking for 30 years. And every picture they have of me, I have either is in my mouth or is in my hand, one form or another. And it's crazy because you don't think about it until like scenarios like this that we're talking about it, that when they think about it, or that smell, someone walks by the day we pass, obviously, and that smell comes, they're gonna think of you. And it's crazy because it's like, you try to set the example, right? Because people, we had some guy the other night was like, I don't smoke because of my dad who passed away because of COPD and this and that. And he asked a question which was important about what's the difference between cigarettes and cigars. So we kind of had to educate them, you know what I mean? So people have a real understanding that they're not the same, nothing remotely close. What's up, Trey?
What up, Drizzy?
All time, baby. So to me, it's I can't wait to have, if my son decides to ever have a cigar, I can't wait for him to have a cigar with me. You know what I mean? And so my son has, these guys are met. He has a bushy full of hair. He looks like a damn poodle. You know what I mean? And he's constantly doing this, right? He's constantly doing this. And I'm like, yeah, I remember when the dad had hair. And, I grew up in New York, so, the 80s and stuff like that with freestyle music. So I had, what we used to call it like a Puerto Rican mullet. You know what I mean? It just, straight, blow dry the hair to your shoulders and stuff like that. And it was a little difficult for me because I had a little afro, you know what I mean? So I was able to, keep it nice and tight, whatever. But, I grew up in a whole different era, right? Because me growing up, both of my kids were born here in South Florida. So, my son has a lot of New York vibes, which is crazy because when you see how he dresses, the way he kind of, interacts, he definitely has the New York vibe. My daughter has the New York attitude. Yeah. You know what I mean? She definitely has the New York attitude. And it's funny because, like, these guys bust my chops all the time because I don't hear my accent. I really don't, except when I say, hey, how you doing?
Coffee.
Or coffee, yeah. You. And they bust my chops all the time about, hey, use guys, whatever. But going back to the whole conversation, what brings my point is that I can't wait till that circle of life comes about my way, right? I can't wait till I could become a granddad for the first time to say, you know what? I got to see my grandkids. Yeah. And at that point, I'm like, you know what? When you're ready, I'm ready. You know what I'm saying? And it's just really, I'm like, you know what? Let me get to at least meet my grandchildren because, you know what? Unfortunately, my mom passed away. My mom and my daughter were very tight. But when my son was born, he was, she passed away when he was like maybe 1 year old. She has no memory whatsoever of my mom. You know what I mean? So I want to be able to enjoy at least some time with my grandkids, man. And like I said, all this stuff that we're posting will stay on forever. And they can say, yeah, my granddad was a crazy nut from New York that decided to move to South Florida. You know what I mean?
My kids are still young enough to where they think I'm cool because of this.
Right.
Yeah. My son, he'll be 12 in August, and I can already hear, some of the snide comments. They're coming.
Yeah. That's it. I want to say a big welcome. Michael Herklotz is in the chat panel. Michael is because if there's two people in this cigar industry that you can't be in a bad mood around, and that's Michael Herklotz and Sarah Rodriguez from West Tampa. Yes. Those people have an eternal smile on their face, and you talk about an aura. You get inside their bubble. You could be in a bad mood, but you get within 6 feet of Michael Herklotz or Sarah Rodriguez, and something happens. All of that goes away. All of it. It's just talking about the most inviting people in the cigar industry. So, and Michael, Michael, no, he's always got my back. So, yeah, great guy, great young lady.
We have yet to meet her, but we were very fortunate enough to interview Rick Rodriguez. You know what I mean? And Rick, he's another one, man. The guy, he's one of those guys. I mean, you've been around for a long time, right? You have certain people that you can speak with, right? And right, you ask them one question and they can run with it, right? Mm-hmm. Terrence Riley is definitely one of those guys. You give him a good question, the man will run for it. He'll run with it all day. And then you have some others that it's like pulling teeth. It's like, good Lord, you think it's a good question, and then they give you a response like, well, I guess it wasn't as good as I thought. You know what I mean? So,
I'll tell you a good story about Ricky. So I met Ricky for the first time. Jessica and I went up to an event at Cigars in Sarasota. He was doing an event there with Sarah, and I had never met Ricky before. And introduced Jessica. Jessica didn't know anything about Rick Rodriguez at all, his history. And then, but she'd been smoking. We found some old vintage CAO concert cigars, super, super old. They were only around for like 9 months. I bought like six boxes that I had at a place. So I introduced Ricky to Jessica, and I'm like, Jessica, Ricky's the one who made the concert. He was there promoting West Tampa. So he talked with Jessica for like 15, 20 minutes about like this old CAO cigar that she loves. And then he's like, hey, give me your info. I have a CAO concert. It's like a little humidor. It's also an MP3 player. It looks like a speaker. He goes, brand new in the box. Got one in my garage. I'm going to send it to you. So like a week later, it shows up in the mail. It's like what just an unbelievable guy. And then, now every time we talk to him, we only talk about Sarah, and we talk, about, the family and everything else. And we saw him last December at the Ybor City Cigar Heritage Festival, and his heart was broken. Sarah had moved to North Carolina. And she had called him one day, and I think he's told the story, so I'm not really speaking out of turn, but she was having problems with the Christmas lights on her tree, getting them working or something. And Ricky's like, it broke my heart. I couldn't just go over to her house. My little girl needed my help, and I couldn't just go over there. And he was heartbroken. And it's just like, that's that daddy daughter, man.
I'm going through that right now with my daughter. My daughter just semi moved out. She about 70% of the time she's gone, 30% of the time she's here, but same kind of thing. It's like, man, like, I can't just, and she's like an hour away, and which is not that far, but still, you still don't just jump in the car and go there, and just that thing with your daughter, like, I used to go get gas with my daughter every Wednesday night. She would come home. She'd come home from her, she teaches dance at a dance studio. We come home, I jump in the car, go get and we go get gas. I don't like her going to the gas station by herself at night, and now her boyfriend does that. I'm like, I love that. I love that he does that, but that's my job, man.
I know my daughter still needs me for certain things, and I love that. When she moved down to Miami, which was 3.5, 4 hours away from me, it was like I was worried. I mean, she's a strong woman. Her boyfriend's a good man. But I told her, where she was at living in Pembroke Pines. I said, know where the nearest cigar lounge is around your house and around your job. If anything happens to you down there, someone's harassing you, anything, you make a beeline to your nearest cigar lounge. And then, she said like, oh, will people know you there? And I go, nope, you're going to find dads there. Yep. And they're going to take care of you. They're going to make sure
that is such a good damn moment. You know what? I'm going to use that.
I love
that. That's so, and it's so true. And that's so true. And let me tell you something, like in my lounge, you're right. There's a bunch of dads. There's a bunch of these guys from all local, federal, state, you man, you know what I mean?
Oh, if somebody's daughter came into our local lounge, like, hey, there's a guy harassing me, that dude's about to have a bad fucking day. I'm gonna tell you that right now.
You don't have a clue.
I have three daughters from 2 to 9 years old. And even now, they'll just seeing them upset over whatever it may be. I'm just like, I get a little lump in my throat. I'm like, no. And my son, I'm like, toughen up. But my daughter,
you're like your little 10-year-old daughter. Do I got to go to school? Do I got to go to jail for beating up another 10-year-old? That's you. I'm like,
Oh man, I tell my daughter all the time, please don't let me lose my pension. Please don't let me lose my pension. I'm so close. Don't let me lose my pension. Because I tell my kids all the time, I said, listen, the monster is sleeping. He's not dead. Because as you get older, right, you kind of prioritize certain things and you kind of learn to walk away from certain things from when you're in your 20s, right? Because in my 20s, I was reckless. There's no secret in regards to my temperament back then. As I got older, I got a lot more to lose, right? Because you work so hard for what you have. And you know that if you do something stupid, that not only you suffer, but your loved ones suffer along the way with it. And my biggest thing is, like, my integrity is everything. I would never do anything to embarrass my name, my family. You know what I mean? Because to me, it's so important to me. It's who I am, and and it's crazy because right now we're kind of going through some rough patches in my line of profession, and to me, and I tell people, this is what I do. This is not who I am, And it's something, mind you, there are some of us, that in my profession that's what they do and that's who they are. And I could never understand that because you know what? I've always believed, like, mind you, statistically, our life expectancy after retirement is like 5 years. You know, we have the highest divorce rate than any other profession. I can attest to that. And and the reality, it is what it is, right? But these guys got to meet my wife, and mind you, I met my wife when I first moved down here from New York when I was 12 years old. And after middle school, we kind of went our separate ways. 20 plus years later, we ended up reuniting. And mind you, I'm grateful for my kids and the moms and stuff like that. But I know that my life would have been a lot simpler. You know what I mean? A lot easier. And but you know what? Things happen the way they're supposed to happen, and I just embrace it. Hey. And I'm grateful for it. I really am.
Especially in your line of work, if you can't have a bad day because somebody with a cell phone is only going to take a 30-second clip of a 10-minute interaction, and it's going to be the 30 seconds of you saying something or doing something that's going to be taken out of context, and then everything's gone. Everything's gone,
Oh man, stick around after we get off of here in our disco because it's so funny that you say that because something like that just recently just happened to me, and it's kind of it's funny, but it's not funny. But luckily for me, my supervisor and my administration know how I am and how I conduct myself. And for me to get to a certain point, it had to be a certain way. Because honestly, Kev, the one thing that I cannot stand is someone to lie to me. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Be honest, and I'll work with you.
Absolutely.
If you lie to me and you make me have to work and find the truth, because the truth is, listen, my dad had a saying, a lying tongue will one day speak the truth. And I never understood that as a child. As I got older, I understand it now, because you know what? The truth will always be the truth. A lie, you got to remember how you said that lie forever, because the person you told you is only going to remember it one way.
Right.
You know? So you know, and it just keeps on. And yeah, I kind of
you prove my point.
Not I didn't step in it, but I told them that they pissed me off, and yeah. But anyways, go ahead. What was that, PC?
You kind of prove my point. That's why I always say, you know, am I in these filthy streets? You know, because
I just got pulled over, you know, for the first time in years, like a week ago. Come back from New Orleans, had dropped off my truck broke down on the way there, so we had to get a rental car. I just dropped off my co-host Care in Georgia. That's where we met. You know, I get some lunch. I'm starving. I get on the highway. Instantly got pulled over by a Georgia state trooper. Comes up the window and he goes, "Hey, you were tailgating that car in front of you, following way too close. And is there any reason for that?" You know, and I'm like, I just merged on. You know, I'm like, I really want, and I'm like, he was slowing down. And then I just stopped. I go, you know what? I could tell you 100 stories, but I wasn't paying attention, man. I'm trying to eat my lunch. I just got something to eat, and I'm tired. And he goes, "All right." He goes, "Come on back. I'll give you a warning." You know, and he just, you know, he could have. I could have lied. He could have been this questioning back and forth, and I'm just like, man, I'm sorry. You know, and I think that's all he wanted to hear. It's like, I'm sorry. You know, and
I'm gonna tell you, I dealt with the same thing in Alabama. I was coming down the road and this car kept hitting his brakes. I switched lanes and the sheriff was behind me. He pulled me over. He's like, "Hey man, what are you doing? We got a law. You can't be tailgating. You got to be 2 cars." I'm like,
"Yeah,
man, you got me. I'm sorry." And he let me go with a warning.
Yeah,
exactly.
Listen, I'm that guy you want to get pulled over by, because I hate writing tickets. I'm just saying.
I got pulled over. This is probably going back like 5 years ago, and then and it was some young kid. Couldn't have been. I don't even look like he was 16. Like he just graduated the day before, and he comes strutting up. I'm like, I'm fucked. I'm fucked. I'm getting a ticket. You know, he takes my license and everything out. You know, goes back to the car, and then he gets out, and then another guy gets out from the an old grizzled guy, and then I'm like, "Oh, hey, I know that guy." You know, he goes to our cigar lounge. You know, he was one of the regulars, and you can tell the young kid was so pissed off, and he just handed me the license back, and Rick goes, "Hey, slow it down, Kevin." I'm like, "See you later, Ricky." You know, that young buck was so mad. You know,
he was trying to impress his FTO.
Yeah,
listen, you understand? I have so many stories that I would love to share, man, because I had one trainee. You know what? I'll say it. You know, I had this one trainee that he was just one of those guys. He was extremely overzealous. You know what I mean? And he was that guy that was trying to prove something, and I'm like, buddy, I'm not the one to try to just do the job. You know what I mean? Just do the job. I'm grading you based on your performance, how you conduct yourself, and part of the exam, you know, not the examination, but part of the evaluation is how you conduct yourself with the civilian, right? The citizen. And instead of him being here, the man was like up here. You notice you can't even see my hand. And so I had to reel him back because he was demoralizing this man in front of his wife and kids. And I'm like, no, we're not going to have that. We're not going to do that. I said, yo, man, let's go. I go, do me a favor, give him back his ID, and we're going to have a chit chat. I went, I said, listen, sir, there was a stop sign back there. We're enforcing the stop sign because there have been multiple accidents, etc. I gave him an education, right? I gave him a warning just so we could justify the stop, you know? And once he left, I had to have a serious conversation. I'm like, buddy, you ain't got to be on like 10th alert, buddy, every day. Dude, like, you need to pump the brakes. Like, listen, I remember me when as a rookie, I was full of piss and vinegar. You know what I mean? I was that guy. I thought I was Rambo when I came out. You know what I'm saying? I'm low crawling. I'm climbing the trees. I'm like, yeah. I mean, like I said, I cannot wait to share some of these stories. Some are, like I said, some are funny as hell. You know what I mean? Some are serious, but, I just, I have zero regrets joining the force, man. It's something that I've always wanted to do. And like I said, I got it. Like I said, high points, low points, good morals, bad morals, not morals, but, high points. But it's just one of those circumstances that, you got to ride that wave. You know what I mean? And right now we're riding a tidal, not even a tidal, a tsunami right now. So, but I just can't wait till I retire, so I could just enjoy the fruits of my labor, because that's all I want. Honestly, guys, that's all I want to be able to do, to be able to enjoy the fruits of my labor. And Kevin, you said something that to me earlier in regards to you don't want to be that 70, 80-year-old at Walmart, right? That has always been my biggest fear, to grow old to a certain age and have nothing to show for it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's something that I've tried to instill in my kids. If you want something, what are you willing to sacrifice to get what you want, to do and accomplish the things that you want to accomplish, and go on vacations and all this other stuff? What are you willing? Because I know what I sacrificed, and I know what I've been able to accomplish and afford you guys to do. Because the things that I've been able to give you guys, I never had the opportunity. I didn't know what the hell vacations were. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I mean, and that's the thing. Like I said, I'm very grateful for my profession, and like I said, I just want to be able to enjoy the fruits of my labor.
Yeah, really, you already spend more than a third of your life working. Another sleeping.
Right.
You got to enjoy what you can while you can, and and you spend most of your life, the majority of your life, working. You want there to be a stopping point, and you don't want it to be as soon as you stop working, you're on the struggle bus.
Yeah. You gotta stay active. You know what I mean? And this is another reason why I wanted to be, I want to be part of something like this, that I have a purpose.
Yeah.
I mean, just a reason, just to be able to get up, as opposed to just getting up, doing the same routine, drinking my coffee, having my cigar, going back to bed, and just start. No, there has to be a purpose. And my wife is like, when you retire, you're going to be miserable, and you're going to drive me miserable. So you better figure something out quick. These guys they've got to be my wife. My wife's a nurse practitioner. You know what I mean? And she's been in the field for a while. And I'm gonna get to retire before she is, and I'm gonna enjoy every bit of it.
Yeah.
Babe, I love you. I love you, babe. I love you. But yeah, it's just like, listen, like I said, I wanted to be able to do certain things. Like, I have my bucket list. I don't know if you have a bucket list. Do you have a bucket list of things that you want to do and you haven't yet to do, that you're waiting for retirement, or you plan to do them in the near future? Do you? I mean, I have.
I'll be 50 in a couple years, 3 years, 2 years, and we're going to visit Ireland. We want to take a 2 or 3 week vacation to Ireland, visit my motherland, and I mean, Jessica and I, and that's our big one, is we want to travel as we get older. We want to be able to do it in our 50s and not our 70s.
Right.
And be able to do it, have the time, have the money, and have the energy to do it. Not be 70, 80. And, like, I always wanted to go here, but I never did, so we take a lot of little, day trips. A couple of years ago, we were in Bristol, Tennessee, seeing a friend of ours owns a tattoo shop. Jessica got a big tattoo from him. So we went up there for that. And, we saw a sign that said Kentucky Mega Caverns in like Louisville. And so like, it was like a year later, like we were just bored, and 1 week, and you're like, well, what do you want to do this weekend? I'm like, let's go to Louisville. Let's go see remember that billboard we saw for them caverns? Let's go zip lining in the caverns underground. And she's like, yeah, let's do that. So we took a 4-day weekend, and we flew to Louisville and went and hit some cigar shops, and went zip lining, and, did some cool stuff, just because, we were able to. We have time to do it. And You know, so we used to do a lot more of that than we do now, but yeah, it's just those cool things.
See, my wife is that way. If I tell my wife, "Hey, babe, you want to go?" But by the time I finish my sentence, the suitcase is already packed. I mean, so my wife is very diverse. She's traveled all over the world. You know what I mean? I, on the other hand, I'm very reserved when it comes to certain things, but I do have my bucket list. Like, I want to go to Ireland. I would love to go to Scotland. I would love to go to Greece. I would love to go to Italy, you know. But as far as this realm, and I share this, I would love to visit some factories because I've yet to visit a factory. I want to go to Nicaragua.
Same here, yeah.
Yeah, Nicaragua. I want to go to DR. I want to go to Honduras. I want to go to Brazil. You know, I want to go to Africa. You know, all these different countries that have some association with this thing that I absolutely love and enjoy. And you know what? I'm very blessed that my wife is all about it. She's like, let's go. Tell me when, and we're there. You know, my wife's been all, like I said, she's been to Ireland. She's been to France, England, Switzerland, Netherlands, Russia. She's been to Greece, Spain. Spain's another country I wouldn't mind going to. But the ones that initially I mentioned, those are definitely on my butt. But I want Italy to be the last stop. Yeah, because I just love the history. I don't know. I just think I would really enjoy, you know, the culture as a whole. That's just me.
That's it. You know, I still haven't been to a cigar factory yet, other than JC Newman in Tampa. You know, I want to get down. You know, and we have all these manufacturers all the time. You know, AJ Fernandez, the guys from Sinistro, Artista. All of these factories they're always like, just come down. We'll take care of everything. You get here, your food is on us, your hotel is on us. We'll put you up. We'll make sure you're safe. Come to the factory. We'll let you play around. Just play. Do whatever you want to do. Just come and take some photos, take some videos, roll some shitty cigars because they know that I'm going to roll shitty cigars. You know, so you know, but you know, and that's what and we really want to do that in the next year or two is just start hitting some factories and seeing our friends and seeing, you know, how this thing comes together.
Right. We've been invited to the Perdomo factory.
Yeah.
We were supposed to go this year and just obviously, you know, certain things happened. We weren't able to go. So Billy Perdomo, you know, he's a big business, you know, he's constantly at my lounge. So my lounge is in Margate, Florida. You know what I mean? Yeah. And Billy's always there. He's always there playing dominoes with us, etc. You know, and when we got to meet Nick, you know, we spoke about that. You know what I mean, in regards to going to his factory. So and it's not that expensive. You know what I mean? We're talking about just shy of $1,000, right?
Yeah.
4 days, you know, and it includes everything. They have their own travel agent that they deal with. Yeah. So that you can speak to, you have to, when you fly, I forget where you fly into, but you stay there for the night. A bus comes, picks you up, they feed you, they give you other cigars, you know, and obviously they tell you, you know, listen, there's plenty of cigars to smoke. Don't try to grab a handful, enjoy them while you're there. You know, you get the experience. So, you know, there's there's other factories that we would love to go to, you know. Here's a question. Have you ever heard of a cigar company, every day is a cigar day?
Every day is a cigar day?
Yeah.
No, I don't think it's not ringing a bell.
Beautiful cigars.
I'm going to tell you, his name is Andres. He has a farm and factory in Esteli. I'm going to send you some sticks. And he's definitely one basically from factory to consumer. You know what I mean? He's online only. It's just and I believe you would probably enjoy, just based on what I've seen, what you smoke. Yeah. I honestly believe that you would enjoy his cigars. You know, and we've been invited to his factory, you know what I mean, to his shop and stuff like that. We've been invited to a couple of places. And like I said, although we've been on for a very short period of time, we've been very fortunate to interview some people. You know, like I said, Nick Perdomo, Eric Espinoza, Terrence Riley, Matt Booth, Pete Johnson, etc. You know, and we're just trying to grow. You know what I mean? We're just trying to grow because, you know, we love this industry and we would love to meet as many people as possible and try to get as many people possible on our podcast. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's it. That's what it's all about. You mentioned dominoes, and like I want to go to the factories and play around. Jessica just wants to go to the factories and play dominoes with the old guys. That's all she wants to do. And I've never played dominoes. I always wanted to learn how until I saw Jessica playing dominoes. We had just started dating. Her and her whole family's from Jersey. So I mean, I think maybe the second or third time I was ever at her parents' house, they're like, start playing dominoes. They're like, you want to play? And I'm like, I don't know how to play. I'll just watch you. And they're fucking yelling they're slamming shit down, yelling at each other, screaming. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? And it's like, no, this is what dominoes is, So, but yeah. So
go down to Margate and watch this guy play.
Yeah. Hey, so she is a shark when it comes to dominoes. So we'll come down there. She'll play with you, and then I'll just watch.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Hey, quick shout out. One of the guys in our chat there is one of my favorite human beings on the planet. His name there is Heimdall Blows, but it's William, and one of my favorite humans ever. Thanks for joining us, man. Love you, brother.
First time I went to Panda's lounge, I've never been around dominoes.
Yeah.
And it's a whole culture within them four walls. It sounds like the Battle of Ramadi. The way
yes.
And the screaming, the hollering, calling each other bitches. I mean, just the love in general. It was something
that's the dominoes Jessica likes. It's not the quiet, really,
no.
She wants to yell at you. She wants to scream. That's the dominoes she wants.
They're picking up the tables and walking away with it.
Oh man! So you understand? So I took JJ away. So JJ was the first one to come down, right? I took him to Smoke on the Water, right?
Oh, great place! Great place.
Right? So I took him to Smoke on the Water, and you've been there, right? It's a nice environment, but it's kind of just chill. My lounge is so opposite, you know what I mean? Because we were waiting for Don to show up. So we went around, did our tours, and then we ended up in a Panda half. No, not yet. You know what? Whatever. I'll get what you get. So anyways, JJ's expression when we started slamming the dominoes, right? It was just, and that's it, and that's what I love about my lounge, because anyone that's not around or used to that environment would think that we're fighting, we're arguing, and all we're doing is talking shit. And you know what I mean? And it's just like, you know what? I know you got that double six, but eat it, bitch. And it's like, and I just love dominoes. I love my shop. And so Gabe is busting my chat. I turned 50 in, wow, damn guys, in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So I'm having my birthday, my 50th at my lounge at Burn 1 in Margate. Kev, if you make it down south, I'm just saying, you're more than welcome, my brother. You bring the wife, and she can shit talk with the rest of us playing dominoes, because there'll be plenty of dominoes playing.
I don't know. I'm supposed to be down in Boynton Beach on the 22nd and 23rd of May. But I don't know. I'm supposed to be down for classes at work. So if I'm down that way, I'll let you know if I'm be able to hook up somewhere down there.
Well, listen, if you come down one way or another, I'll definitely meet up with you. You know what I mean? Because I work in Broward. You know what I mean? I work in Pompano. There's no secret there. But and like I said, my birthday is Monday, which is the 19th, but I'm celebrating on Saturday at the lounge. Yeah. And so all these guys are busting my chops. I'm turning a half century. And so I've shared with these guys, 50, for whatever reason, Kevin, has kind of really messed with my head. Although I've gotten better and I've accepted it a lot better now, because, there's a saying, and I shared with these guys, I don't know where I've heard it, Kev, but it stuck with me, that I have lived longer than I have left to live.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And I kind of struck a chord, and it just like, and it didn't want to leave. And I got emotional about it. And I'm like, what the hell is going on with me? I don't cry like this. What the hell, man? but it really hit me. But I'm embracing 50. You know, I don't feel 50 because you know what? I'm a child at heart. You know, I enjoy making people laugh. I enjoy, you know, just being loud because I'm very loud. You know, I'm
no.
Yeah, I know it's surprising. and listen, Kev, I'm that guy, and I've learned this and accept this a long time ago. I'm that guy, Kev, that either you like my character or you don't.
Yeah,
and that's fine. You know, I'm perfectly fine with that. That's for you to deal with, not for me. You know, I'm perfectly fine with who I look at in the mirror and who stares back at me. You know, but you know, I'm starting to embrace it. I really am, and I'm not going through no midlife crisis. I'm not looking. Although I went and got my motorcycle license and could I bought a motorcycle and the crazy part is that the wife is all for it. She's like, "You get one, I'm gonna get one too." I'm like, "Let's go, let's do this," you know. But then you know how it is down here in South Florida, man. Then people talk about New York drivers. I drive like an old lady. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know what, Don?
Bullshit. Pardon my
bullshit.
Last time we were in Florida, I don't think he went under 90 miles an hour unless he was at a stop sign.
Yeah.
And those was a rolling stop at best.
And most of those he took on two wheels.
Hey, JJ, what's that comment I heard when you went around the roundabout that you know what it feels like to go on all four wheels?
Yeah.
Dude, I learned a lot in Florida this past trip. I learned a lot.
So Kev, you understand? So you know JJ's from Oklahoma, right? So the first time they came down was last year to go to Ybor City, and you know to me it's like, so Don has lounges in Texas, PC has lounges in Georgia. JJ is very limited, you know what I mean? So I kind of wanted to give him an experience. So
yeah,
and I don't think he's gonna mind me sharing this, right?
Absolutely
So
not.
JJ lives in a very small town. So when he grew up, you know, there were very limited minorities other than Hispanics, right? So his first encounter was with a black individual was in the military, right? So I figured, let me overdose him and go to Ybor City. Okay, I'm just saying, I'm gonna give you a one-stop shop, JJ, international. Every plethora of every culture in the world. You know what I'm saying? And so I took him to King Coronas. I took him to Long Ash, and I took him to the Grand Cathedral. So I took him to all the Keystone places, and then of course we ended up in Cigar Castro. Have you ever been to Cigar Castro in downtown?
No. I it's one of the few places I haven't been to in Ybor.
Oh my God, they're not necessarily in Ybor. It's right outside of Ybor. It's one of those lounges, Kev, that it's one of the like your local lounges.
Yeah.
But the storefront, it's very deceiving. It really is, right? It's right next door to a liquor store that is owned by the same guy. But when you walk in, their humidor is absolutely sick. Yeah. It's the whole length of the damn freaking store.
Yeah.
By far the cheapest sticks for opuses. For any opus, and their price points were pretty good.
Yeah.
You know, it's ridiculous. But so JJ had got an OD of a culture that he wasn't used to, and we absolutely enjoy the hell out of it. Oh. His facial expression. So we end up going back to Ybor City at nighttime. You know what I mean? We end up going back to King Coronas. So we're walking, right? And they literally the bouncers were literally carrying a guy that was so obliviated and so just it was and we're like, he's most likely going to be in some corner laying around a light post somewhere, you know what I mean? But we had a blast. We absolutely had a blast.
And I remember Ybor. I mean, that's where I spent my 20s, and it was like, and Ybor was a dangerous place back then. And it was like Mardi Gras every fucking weekend. I mean, it was not the Ybor City it is now, but it was, it's definitely a lot tamer of a city than it used to be.
See, and it was an eye opener. I mean, the town I grew up in was a town less of 1,000 people, and where I ended up graduating high school, I graduated with 46 kids.
Yeah.
Not well diverse in any definition. And like I said, my only real time I've seen diversity was I was 20 years old in the Army.
Yeah.
And like I said, now I just, and it's not, because the towns we lived in, it was, because we're all native down here. I'm native and German. There's a huge thing of that here for whatever reason. And it's an agricultural town. So of course we have Hispanics that come in for the agricultural work and everything like that. And I said, it was never diverse. And, like I said, it was an eye opener and I just fell in love with everything. I seen some stuff down there and they know what I'm talking that I have never before. Let me tell you what.
Yeah. Covered. I don't know what exactly, BC. I agree. Oh my Lord. Guys, well, it's been an hour and 35 minutes. Holy crap. Where the hell did the time go? Where did the time go?
It just flew by.
It did flew by, man. And you know what? This is why we're doing this, right? Because we and like I said, we're trying to grow our channel, etc. But you know what? I want to grow the community. That's always been my goal, to meet people from all over, and talk about your experience. And to me, and I shared with these guys, Kev, I would love to do like an event that all it is enthusiasts from everywhere. Get some type of campground and people from all 50 states just fly in and bring their pop-up tents and bring their tents, etc., bring cabins, and just shoot the shit and just talk and just be able to commute and grow this community, because there's so many of us that absolutely love this lifestyle that, that we need to get more of us together. And like I said, and I'm grateful for what you do, and listen, my brother, keep doing what you're doing because it's working. What I'm saying? It's working. And I got nothing but praise for you and your wife and your daughter, man. And I'm telling you, man, just keep it going. Don't stop, man. Because as you know, once you stop, you start getting brittle and you start, drifting away. You don't want to drift away. You want to continue to be and partake of what's of the now.
That's it.
You're an absolute staple in the cigar world, and you're killing it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, thank you very much. We're just keep grinding. As long as we keep we still have that love, we still have the passion for the cigars, the community, and what we do. So we'll be doing this for hopefully as long as like Coop and Cigar Craig and those guys that are a lot older, been doing it a lot longer, and those are the guys I look up to, and they still have that love, they still have that passion. When they talk, it's just, and that's what I want to be. I never want to lose that.
Right.
So Kev, for those who don't know you, which I highly doubt anyone doesn't know you by this time, where can they find you? What social platforms can they find you at?
Cigar Prop. Just Google Cigar Prop and you will find me everywhere. Twitter, Twitch, LinkedIn, X, Facebook, YouTube, Rumble. It's all there. We got our website, cigarprop.com. From there, you can find trashpandacigars.com. You can find our podcast, the I Tap That Cigar Show, the Puff and Ponder podcast. Just Google Cigar Prop. You'll definitely find me.
Oh yeah.
Oh, absolutely. So guys, if you like what you see, please subscribe, share, hit that notification bell, hit that all. So every time we go live, by all means, you'll be notified. And we're trying to, we're at 400 and something subscribers right now. We're trying to get to 500. And obviously our goal is to keep on growing further up. But at 500, we got some giveaways. We'd love to have you guys, come along for the ride with us. So guys, it's been a pleasure. And like I said, Kev, stick around. So before we leave, I definitely want to chit chat with you about something else afterwards.
Yeah, and make sure you get with me when you guys get 500, and we'll donate some prizes for your giveaway for sure.
Absolutely. Okay, cool. Absolutely. There you go, guys. There you go. We appreciate it. But before we leave, I want to give a thanks to our sponsors, The Godfather He's an accessory guy. Go to thegodfather.com. He has great cigar accessories. Use the discount code, the Leaf and Ash Podcast. You get an additional 15%. And if you go to Burn One, which you ready to roll that beautiful bee footage?
Roll
Go for it. We'll see what you get. What's going on, guys? This is your boy Panda, and your boy Panda has some great news. We have teamed up with Burn One Cigar Bar, located at 7328 Royal Palm Boulevard in Margate, Florida. Guys, Burn One Cigar Bar is your go-to destination for the finest selections of premium cigars at unbeatable prices. Step into a world of luxury and relaxation as you indulge in the smooth flavors and exquisite aromas of our carefully curated cigars collection. But that's not all. Burn One Cigar Bar has teamed up with us for an exclusive sponsorship opportunity just for you. When you call Burn One and purchase any box of cigars, you unlock a fantastic discount of 20% of your order using special discount code PANDA. You can contact Burn One at 954-970-0001 or on their social media pages, Facebook and or Instagram. Guys, don't miss this chance to elevate your cigar experience without breaking the bank. Visit Burn One Cigar Bar today. Mention discount code PANDA and treat yourself to premium cigars at incredible value. Hurry up, this offer won't last. Burn One Cigar Bar, where luxury meets affordability. And they ship nationwide. Peace.
Peace.
I see we all three. You know, the good thing about living in rural Oklahoma is I just got to take 4 steps out the back door.
Let me tell you, sir, I had to go the lawn, an acre and a half just got watered. Just saying. So, guys, Kev, that's my local lounge. Well, not my local lounge, but that's the lounge that I go to on a daily basis. I'm like the furniture there. I've known the owners there since day one that they've opened. And these guys, they've gone to go, and and maybe I'm biased. I've yet to go to a lounge that's anything like my lounge, because they make everyone and anyone feel welcome from day one. No matter from the minute you walk in, if you need help, everyone's saying hi to you. As these guys, got first experience, right? People offering you cigars, offering you drinks. Go to their locker, go grab what you want, etc. I've yet to go to any lounge like that makes you feel that welcome. You know what I mean? But once again, guys, we appreciate it. Make sure you visit Cigar Prop at all his social media pages and keep on growing his channel, because you know what? He is a staple of this industry, and we definitely greatly appreciate what he's doing. And hopefully we can't wait to see what he has in the near future. And hopefully we could partake with him. Guys, until the next time, we'll catch you later. We love you. Peace.